Okay, so hello good people of the internet, it is I, Tommy Kelly. This is Adventures Movie, and in this I'm doing two 9-card 47 readings for patrons over on Patreon. And the first question is from Benny. Benny asks, what should I know about the recent Estes sessions? So 9 cards, it's going to be similar to the 5 cards, only with 2 more informing and leading on cards. So the first is the center, the crux of the problem. What's informing it, what's leading from it, and then above what should be done about it and what should be avoided, with both extra cards from the 5 card thing informing the reason why it should be avoided and the reason why it the advice should be taken. So let's see what it says. Of course, you have to read the whole reading as a full set as well. It's not just as clear cut as all that. Okay. What does Benny need to know about the recent Estes sessions he has been doing? Okay, we seem to be there. Okay, can we see all them on the camera? We can. So the crux of it all, the center of it all, is the dead. So this is to do with the past, or ancestors, or dead people, or your own kind of learning. I suppose in some way you could make the thing that, am I talking to a dead person, to someone, that the ancestors, something like that. And of course, it's a message from the ancestors if we're going in this thing. And it's working on a kind of a gut level rather than a rational level, rather than a kind of it's the feelings around it, it's the ripples through it, rather than if you write it down and trying to convince someone of the message. Or maybe more that you can't put it so much into words. You can't really articulate in that way. That the message coming from the ancestors, or from the past, or from experience, or whatever it is, being that you're talking to someone on the Estes, I would say it's an ancestor or someone from the past, someone who's on the other side, let's say, and you have to feel what the answer is rather than trying to rationally work out what the answer is. The thing to be avoided is giving away your fortune, your good thing, to a higher power, or needing intercession. So it's feeling that you need to do this in order to get what you want, the spirit contact, that you need this spirit in order to do magic, or you have to be reliant on something else, that good fortune comes from maybe appeasing someone sort of intercessory spirit, or an expert or something like that, or to give results like in a contract. So don't get into any contract with it. Don't be signing anything. There's something, the good fortune is like you're giving it away to an intercessory thing. And because we're talking about spirits and stuff, and they are intercessory, an awful lot of the case, that's to be avoided. The thing that's advice is to be giving is to be quiet about it, to just go back into kind of solitude, not get too many people giving you advice around it. Become kind of looking at yourself, retreating into the darkness if you want to, pulling away from it and finding out what you think about it. Because remember, it's saying you have to get your gut feeling of it. And the more kind of opinions and stuff you get around it, the more you can be led astray. And that includes, I know that there's 2 years doing it, that includes the other person as well. That it's to not necessarily have to agree with what wise owls, I'm not going to pretend I don't know what's going on here, that wise owls' opinions on it say. It's just, it's a solitary thing. You have to decide for yourself. You don't have to get carried away with what other people say, the people you've been talking to, or That's not to say you can't, don't immediately disagree with people either as well if it resonates with you. It's saying that the power lies with you retreating into yourself, having a look at what you think and learning more, getting more knowledge, finding out more about it. That's where the knowledge will come from. The power will come from retreating, leading to more knowledge. So to get your own kind of sense of what it is. And this is true even with the stuff we were doing with the black sessions and stuff like that, is that I could have an interpretation or a message from me, Spud could have a different one, and Jason could have a different one. All of them very, very valid, true, and worked out, and described something that happened later, whatever. And all of them 3 different things, because it can almost felt at times that it was speaking directly to us with the one sentence, meaning 3 different things, or that it wasn't, that it's this thing as well. It's the feeling, it's what you think it is, rather than what necessarily has been said. I think that's very important with any of this kind of channeling or spirit contact and all that. It's the gut feeling, the intuition is the more important thing. That's the ripple that's been blown out, because you understand what it is. It's the same as a synchronicity. When someone's trying to describe a synchronicity and you go, well, I don't think that's a synchronicity, that's more of a coincidence. It doesn't matter what you think. It only matters that the person who had the experience thinks, because it's the feeling that's around it. You can recognize a synchronicity in your own life that other people can't. And sometimes, of course, you can totally recognize synchronicity in someone else's life because it's so bizarre. But mostly it's to do with how you're feeling around it. So to go back over, there's some, as I kick the camera. So to go back over it, knowledge from the past, from the ancestors, the dead, something from the other side. There's a message from that can be translated or understood by feeling it rather than by being rational about it. Understand it on a gut level, like how does this feel to me? What is the truth of this feeling? The thing to avoid it is giving away your power or your fortune or your good luck or whatever it is to a higher power. That's not what it should be, and you shouldn't see it as yourself on a hierarchy where they're above, you're below, and you have in some way to appease them by giving them something of yours. It's thinking of more like a colleague working together, that kind of stuff, rather than a petition or something that you are below on the hierarchy. Equally, don't think you're above it either. The power, the advice that is offered to you is that the power lies, the illumination, the enlightenment, the sun comes from retreating into the darkness, into yourself, into solitariness, into keeping everything as simple as possible and understanding your own feelings about it without the noise of everything around you, including the people you're doing with, including the people you're talking to, including the whole history of Estes sessions and everything else. And this leads to the knowledge of what you're looking for, and this will lead to the learning, the understanding, the acquisition of knowledge. So that's what I see from that. That's very cool. Okay. So question number 2. Pengu, can I get some insight on how this fall season will be for me? World-class shuffler. No one better in the world than me. Okay. Okay. Overall, it's pretty good, man. I mean, man in a non-gendered way. Dude. So, the conductor is the crux of it all. You get to say, you take control of your life. You get to, you should make the decision about what you want. Rather than, what's in store for me for the fall. Well, you decide. What is it you want? Ruminate with it, meditate with it, have a think about it, let it percolate up through you. And this will lead to fresh start, new ideas, a seed, a plant, a flower, a tree of ideas. What do you want? Have a think about it. What is it that you want from the fall? Take control of it. And this leads to new ideas, or have a new idea about it. So that's pretty cool. You get to decide your next season. What's to be avoided? Giving too much power to the opposition, or becoming overly critical or chaste or disciplined. But also there's this kind of idea, so like say the sun and like this a powerful opposition, okay, let's say, or energy to the opposition, and looking away from that. So it's not to say, so it's not to say that because you're taking control of it, that means you don't have to worry about opposition, or, it's not like you've turned the, you're doing the law of attraction and then you go, well, I don't have to pay my bills, all my bills will be, they'll all be just paid, it'll all magically work out. It says, well, don't avoid stuff as well. Don't avoid the opposition. Don't not see the opposition as being a powerful thing, but that doesn't mean that you have to stop deciding what it is you want. Don't look away from that. It's not just that, it's not the land of do as you please. It's not the land of get everything you want. It's going, well, what is it I want to do, and then work towards doing that. It's not necessarily saying you're going to guarantee you're getting everything, or that you don't have to worry about complications or bills or things going askew or whatever. Just don't have that as your main focus, but don't look away from it. And then, of course, the advice giving is to be in balance. And of course, you have 2 moons. And you have the equivalent sun of thinking. So it's a balance between hope and a balance between being rational. So shoot for the moon. Do shoot for the moon. Get, well, what is it you actually want? And then go towards it. But also balance it with, well, like, again, it's echoing this kind of stuff here. Don't not think about the things that are real life stuff as well, but it's having a balance between those things. And it's interesting that, of course, he is pointing to the thinker and the moon. It's like the level is kind of there. So the lines going up, you can sometimes... Yeah, okay, well, I'll go with the opposites. So you have the moon, the hope, the light in the darkness, the thing to follow, the beacon, all of that thing. And then you have the opposer. So there are 2 kind of separate things that could work against you. Going, well, I can't have hope because life is so shit and it's always opposition, and what's the point in having hope when everything goes wrong? So don't do that. And then the opposite end of be rational about it, understand it, don't let it stop you from doing it, but really think about it, rather than not looking at it, rather than walking away from it or retreating or becoming too disciplined with it. Discipline's not exactly what I mean. It's like becoming too Puritan with it or whatever. Like don't be overzealous in it. That's it so much that you forget about the power, about the actual real life. Think about it. That this is life. Don't ignore it. Don't become I suppose like the religious figure that's just this blind faith. Blind faith. That's exactly what that is in this case. It's blind faith. Not looking at these things. Don't do that. Think about it. And the thing between it is let it ruminate, let it meditate, have a think about what is going on. Let ideas, the hope and all percolate and come up. And with the oppositional forces and thinking about it is part of the thing that leads to the new idea. That it's like that old thing of that you can make diamonds, you can only make diamonds through pressure. So sometimes you need to have the oppositional, to have a think about it, and this leads to new ideas. So to recap, you get to decide what you want. You take control rather than letting fate, what is in store for me? What do you want? It's the better question, not what is going to happen to me. Think about it, it'll lead to new ideas. Avoid not looking away from the actual reality of the world and the actual oppositional forces that are in there. Of course, you have the opposites again of the sun and the moon, the day and the night. The advice that's been given is to have this balance between thinking and hoping, and that to have a proper balance of it, to be sensible about it, but also have the hope. Believe in magic, but also pay your rent. That kind of thing, believe in magic, do your magic, do all of the woo, but also make sure that all of the non-woo stuff is in order and you're not just ignoring it. good advice at any time. That was a nice reading. So yeah, that's the end of the readings for this month. If you guys want in on it, just join the Patreon from level 2 onwards. And yeah, see you next month.